If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
So you can see that these are the course contents, and you can see here these are module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4 until module 6. So I'd like to spend 5 minutes on this course content so that we align that how we are going to have this training in order to cover all the modules. So we have these 6 modules, and very first day today we are going to start the PLM processes and best practices for PLM data model, PLM roles and roles in research and development, object flow, and PLM for life science, chemical and consumer product. So these module 1 we are going to start with today, and module 2 which is very important part in order to understand SAP PLM for process industry. So we will spend more time on PLM recipe this module 2. So we will spend more and more time, around 8 hours, on this module, because this is the fundamental, as well as the foundation of PLM, SAP PLM for process industry. So this we will see the master data elements, we will see the configuration settings for those master data element, we will see the configuration settings for recipe, and then uh, we will see uh, the next part of PLM recipe development. Next part is module 4. So you can see that here module 2 and module 4 will be connected together. In between there is module 3, which talks about document management, uh, which will be used for recipe, and which will be used for specification. So how document management configuration we have to manage, how we can attach the documents into a specification, how we can attach the document to a recipe. So document management is very important module also, which is used for any sorts of document within a for a finished product, or for a semi-finished product, or for a raw material, wherever it is required. And you are from already from SAP background, so you have seen in supply chain and core logistic module also, they are also using the same documents, and which is coming from document management. Then this is very important module 4, which we will spend a lot of time here, because this module 4 will give you the idea, or will give you the understanding on how we can build the recipe, what is the master data elements which is coming from here, from module 2, in order to create a recipe, what is recipe, how many types of recipes, what is the statuses of recipe, how you can do the formula calculation within a recipe, how you can do the cost calculation within a recipe, how you can perform the recipe compliance checks, how you can search a recipe, how you can analyze a recipe, and what all Fiori applications are used for recipe. So I just wanted to mention here clearly that this training will be conducted from today onwards. Right now we are in, so we will be focusing on PLM S4 HANA SAP PLM recipe development training, which is for process industry. So everything will be we will be going through the S4 HANA applications. We will see the configuration in SPRO for recipes wherever it is required. So this was about module 4. Then the next thing is module 5, where you can see that the compliances, what all compliances are required for a recipe, and what is the data model required for compliance check within a recipe, how you can perform the compliance check in recipe, how you can generate a recipe labels, and finally it will be handed over to manufacturing. Okay, so you will see in this module 5 where we uh, hand over to manufacturing. Before that we see the compliance check and then the recipe level also. Then the last module you can see here, we have engineering change management in SAP PLM. This will be also part of the training, and we will see here how you can create a change record in SAP PLM S4 HANA system, how you can create a workflow template, how you can create a teams and groups, how you can create a change master, and how you can link it to change record. So this will be this whole training will be on SAP PLM S4 HANA 2021 version. So we have a system, and we will provide you the test IDs as per the request of participants, and ZaranTech is going to provide you the training IDs, and then we will see all these modules which is mentioned by me here. So today let us start from introduction to PLM or process industry, and of course for discrete industry is not the focus here. So discrete industry, if you have any sorts of question, definitely I can answer you in that aspects, and we'll see how it goes. I hope my screen was visible and you can see from model 1 to model 6, and we are going to start. So today it will be more of theoretical session. From tomorrow we will have to go into system, PLM system, SAP PLM system, and I will show you how the basic data and tools we can go through in the system, what is the configuration, what is the transaction, what theory application we use. I will also give you, I mean, the course content will be also shared with you. I hope it is already shared. If not shared, end of this everyday session, you can always request this, and the content will be shared with you. Also, I am going to share with you every lab exercises document for your reference, but I will not suggest you to refer that document during the session, but try to focus on how I am taking you through the system demo, and then follow the exercise, and then you can do on your own, so that we will make sure that you learn and we will have a good training. Okay, so coming back to content, let me just, okay, so here the content is there. I mean, from right now you can see 1 2 4 5, but 3 and 6 will be also there as soon as we move, and as soon as we complete one of the modules, you will see those content also. I am going to start this content. Can you see my screen, the first slide?
Yes.
Yes.
I hope it is visible.
Yes, sir.
The first slide, you can see that SAP product lifecycle management for recipe development.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
visible.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, is it possible we can make it bigger?
You can slideshow, Chaket. It will come on the whole screen.
Yeah, okay. And this is Google, so I'd like to take your help. Participant, is it visible enough, or shall I make it? Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, this is the first slide where you can see the module one or part one, where we will talk about the introduction to PLM for process industries. And this is a disclaimer information, and this disclaimer information represents the information on presentation includes examples, images, and reference are provided for informational purpose only, and then it is complying with all applicable copyright laws and the responsibility of the user. And then I mean, all this are from the open source and cannot be used for promotional activities. So this is a copyright of ZaranTech, and this disclaimer you will find across the all modules of the slides. Yeah. So now we can see that agenda for the module one is introduction to PLM, and then we will see the PLM processes and best practices. Then we will see the data model. Then we will see the PLM roles in research and development, PLM typical object flow, and then finally we will see that how the PLM is used for life science and chemical and consumer product clients. Okay. Yeah. So far, any question you'd like to ask, you can always ask me. If not, I will move forward. Yes. So we are in slide number 4. You can see, I hope you can see my screen. Please confirm if you can see the graphical representation right hand side, and left hand side the content about
Yes.
PLM and benefits of PLM and future of PLM and technology. Yeah. So any okay. I don't know why it is moving across. So anyone can confirm what is PLM. So we know that uh, PLM is very vast area, which yeah. So so any product idea which needs to be launched, but it starts from the scratch. There are two types of concept of manufacturing a product. One is the product which does not exist in the market or which does not exist for that organization, but they wanted to develop. So idea of making a product from scratch to hand over to the manufacturing, and from once it is manufactured and it will be sold to customers, and based on customers request or based on customer what they are facing, any issues with respect to a product, that will comes under service. So you can say from idea to service, So the whole stages which will be covered in PLM. So any industry, they they uh, they are in product manufacturing, or they are into selling, they are into servicing. So the idea of uh, having a product lifecycle management in their organization to improve the product usability, and to offer a good product to the customer, and in order to manufacture a product, how best uh, raw materials, how best the usability they need to consider. So that's why uh, they implement the product life cycle management. And for any product, they have their life cycle, which starts from concept and design to retirement. So that's what you can see, that in right hand side, this starts, there is a trigger from concept and ideas, concept and design for a product. And then once this concept and design is approved from the set of stakeholders, or set of authorized people from an organization, they will hand over for development. And once this development team will receive the concept and design of the idea from the previous team, design team, then they will start the development. And once they will do the development and they will complete, they will hand over for production. So the production or manufacturing people, they will manufacture that particular development which was received from development team, and then they will finally launch the product. And once they launch the product, they will sell it to customer. Once they will sell it to customer, then it will be there will be a service and support comes into picture. So when there is a issues with respect to any product, when there will be issues with respect to existing product, faulty product, then there is a requirement of service and support comes into picture. So, and then the manufacturing organization, they have to take care of that service, and they have to provide the support. And then finally you will see that if some product is been phased out, and some product which is already used by customer, but it is not going to uh, continue by manufacturing company anymore, then it has to termed as a retire. So instead of a product of X, then there will be a better product in the market, which will be manufactured by existing organization or any organization, and X will be replaced by Y with better feature and better usability for the customer. So that's why you can see that here retirement. So then this, you can see this is a cycle which always runs, and this is how you can see a product life cycle management takes care of that. And I mean, you can always think of product life cycle management from concept and design to retire, so that so that a better product will come into market, and it will be used for use by a customer. And then improvement of a product, or which will be received by a customer's feedback. So customer or a set of users, they will provide a feedback on that existing product, how it works, or what is the additional element required for that product for a better usability. They will give the feedback to the organization, like manufacturing organization, and then they will amend on that. So like you would have seen in the market, that there are a lot of product, like in case of mobile industry or in case of food industry, or in case of life science industry, or in case of pharmaceutical industry, they'll keep on innovating a new product, and every new product will be introduced periodically in order to serve a better way to their users, or to the consumers. So that is how PLM comes into picture. You can see that there are benefits of PLM and future usability of PLM and technology. So benefits, you can see that the improvement to development, engineering efficiency and effectiveness. So improvement comes from definitely a user or a consumer who use uh, a product, and either it can trigger from the consumer who provides the feedback, and then based on that one there will be a change in that product, and in order to meet the efficiency of that product they will send the request to the design and development team, and development team is going to add or modify that product for a better usability. And then if there is an error, so if there is a calibration problem within a particular product, or there is some errors which is not meeting the consumer's requirement, then they will send the request or feedback to a company who is manufacturing this product, and they will eliminate the errors, and then they will release a new version, or they will release a next version of that existing product. And then there are important things like the time. So you'd have seen that any pharmaceutical company or any drug manufacturing company, generally their life cycle uh, in order to develop a drug product or a medicine, it takes lot of time, years and years. So they will take generally uh, 8 to 10 years to manufacture a drug. So in order to innovate a product and innovate a better product, or you can say that in order to move faster for the the development and production of that product, they need a lesser time. But how they will reduce that time? Because the period of normal duration of the product to manufacture at any drug product will be 8 to 10 years. So they will have to uh, they need a better integration, better collaboration with their suppliers, so that they can have a better raw material supplied by that supplier, so that time will be reduced to reach a finished product to market. So there PLM plays a major role. So we, uh, we should always focus on how PLM can be benefited for a better product, or better very less time to collaborate with their suppliers, and so that production time will be lesser compared to normal time. So that's why you can see that the benefit of PLM we have mentioned here, one of the bullet points. Then quality design and improvement on project delivery. This is all generic things, but it is there is a benefit of PLM. These points. So technology, you can see that nowadays Internet of Things, supply chain sustainability, cloud as software as a service, digital twins. These are the futures of PLM and technology, so that they can, I mean, any organization can take less time and to complete their product manufacturing mm, very faster. So these all are important points. What you can see, the example of, you can see that there are lot of integration from uh, different systems. Like why software as a service comes into picture, because uh, because they need lot of integration. Like if supplier is using some other system, and they wanted to integrate for their bidding, for their for their supply of raw materials, then everything is shifting to cloud. So for PLM also, it is important that the customer or any organization, whoever is using PLM, so they should be bringing the PLM system in software as a service platform, where they can integrate directly with supplier, they can integrate directly with third party manufacturer who is manufacturing a raw material, and then they are supplying it to the company. So digital twins, you would have seen that there are a virtual products. So there will, other than the physical product, there will be also a virtual product which comes into picture, and that is how you can see that digital twins is also going to be a future for SAP, for PLM. So the next slide, if you can see, next slide, slide number 5. So where you can see the product development process, and which is important in process industry. So you can see that this slide shows that how an idea of a product starts, and it will go until the phase of product launch. So when we talk about product development, it covers the different phases. So you can see this slide represents the idea of a product, but this product, whether it is a part of research and development, then obviously this needs to be captured under some financial things. So in order to capture the cost and finance element, in order to manufacture a product, they will have the project and portfolio management integrated for that idea. So we will see in future slides that how this component you can see, and how you have seen that WBS, work breakdown structure, which captures the cost of a anything, any product. And of course in product development process, you will see that how does the WBS comes into picture, how it captures the cost of that product, and then once that idea is confirmed for as a requirement, and then that requirement will be sent for a trial, so that uh, they can start the trials, they can do the prototyping. That's why you can see that here trials. So there will be a different trials, different versions, but they will confirm once one version of that particular requirement is confirmed and working fine, then they will send to the recipe developer, and they will start the formulation or recipe there. So the formulation will start here, and once it is finalized, then they will check the compliance. So whether that particular recipe or a finished product is compliant as per the government regulation or not, then they will do the compliance check. But who will do the compliance check, who will do the formulation or recipe, who will do the trials, what set of users or what set of authorized uh, person will involve in each of the phases, you will see in the next slides. So once the compliance check is done, then they will hand over to manufacturing, and manufacturing production engineer will receive that product after they will receive that the developed product from R&D, and they will start the production and they will launch that product in the market. So you can see that here the triggers of NPD. Anyone can tell me here what is NPD? If you are already in PLM, working in PLM, so definitely you will be knowing about NPD. So you can see here there are new product development, there are existing formulation, there are solutions. So the cycle, what you can see here, NPD stands for new product development, and this new product development triggers, you can see here, either in order to innovate a product, either to launch a brand new product, either to uh, renovate a product, either it has to be either some reformulation is required. So then you can see that new product development, those are the new product development triggers. Okay, a formulation, there are formulation, as you can see that what is the uh, purpose of formulation. So this middle one, the text, what you can see here, what is the purpose of formulation, you can see here, what is the target, you can see here, there are certain target which needs to be achieved by a product development team. So with respect to this consumer product, so these all points are important, and then they will take care of, they will take care within the formulation. So there are a lot of, I understand this is very theoretical. Once we will go to module 2, module 4, we will see the real real topic of how the recipes, what is recipes, what all different types of recipes. So all those things we will understand, but this is with respect to more on product development perspective, and you can see that how the idea of launching a product, the life, you can say the stages, different stages which is involved within the product development. So you can see here the solutions. So finally the solutions will be take place, and this will be based on the contribution based formulation or integrated data driven recipe development, or it is a web based user interface. So these all are the key points or pain points which shows that how the new product development triggers for how the formulation will be taking measures, taking precautionary measures, and for a better formulation. So this will give you the lot of important points which needs to be taken care by formulation. As you can see that under formulation, you can see the important points, and then solutions, once it will be implemented and handed over to manufacturing, so then you can see that how it will be benefited for the users. Okay, so and now you can see that here the better picture for the PLM processes and best practices. As you can see that this is more on SAP perspective. You can see that product lifecycle management for process industry, and you can see that there are different stages. What you have seen here, uh, the this diagram shows the same way, but it is giving the lot of information with respect to each of the blocks what you are seeing here. And left hand side you can see that solution capabilities. So you can see the business processes, and please remember this graphical representation or diagram is been referred from standard pre-configured process for SAP PLM, and there is a pre-configured license which needs to be bought from SAP. If you are going to implement SAP PLM for process industry, we need to know that if client is or any project is looking for a pre-configured process activation or not. If they wanted to go for pre-configured process activation from directly from SAP, then they have a product lifecycle management for process industry. Similarly, they have product lifecycle management for discrete industry. So we need to understand that what kind of solution is required for what kind of industry. So uh, if we are going to work on some client where they are looking for a solution for PLM process industry, then we have to identify this license and we have to have in the system configured, so that in the system all these components of PLM for process industry comes into picture. So it should be available. So here you can see that these are all are not might be not required for a specific type of industry clients. Like for process industry, we don't need this engineering control center. We don't need a variant configuration. We don't need the visualization or digital twin might be. So these some of the parts are not required. So you can choose actually. So if we are implementing SAP PLM for some process industry, then we can identify that they need a recipe development. If any pharmaceutical company is there or any food manufacturing company is there, they need to work on some formulation, and formulation comes within recipe development. Before recipe development, they will have some basic data elements, or you can say the database where they manage their specification, raw materials, semi-finished products. Everything will be covered within the specification management. So this specification management will be the suitable for process industry or pharma industry or life science or food processing industries. They'll use this. Then there is a document management. Document management will be used wherever a regulatory compliance related document needs to be attached to a finished product or a raw material product or any specific product. So that's why document management is a sub module or within a business process, what you can see here, which is required, and you can choose and you can offer to your customer. So that in SAP PLM, you will have specification management, recipe development, document management. Then you will see that change management also. So there is a change, as you have seen, we have discussed earlier. We already discussed that if there is a change in the existing product, and that particular change needs to be triggered either from the manufacturing or from a customer feedback, then it needs to start from the engineering, and they need to change that existing product but with the next version or next newer release version. And then they will hand over to manufacturing, and then they will track it, who what all stakeholders are involved to change that product change process. So that is how you will see that the change management will come into picture. And then once change is finalized and it is released for production, then that change will be closed. So those business process will fall under within change management. Bomb management, of course, you will have in process industry also and in discrete industry also. Bomb management, you will have we will see in the next day slide, next day project session, we will see that insight about bomb. What is bomb? How many types of bomb? And uh, what all types of bombs are there? What all labels of bombs are there? Single level, multi level. So all those bomb related topics will be fall under business process of bomb management. So most of the process industry, they will use spec management, recipe development, document management, change management, and bomb management. Bomb management, of course, will fall for process industry, will fall within the recipe development, which you can have a single level or multi-level bomb. But once you explode the bomb, you can see whole product bomb will give you an overview within the recipe development. But still you want to manage as a separate, as a data element bomb, you can definitely do that. So it is very important to understand what is the kind of industry client they are looking for SAP PLM solution. So based on that one, we have to provide a solution. We have to propose the business processes identified which can be implemented for SAP PLM. So this was about business process. So please uh, always think about when you're working with some of the client, what they require, what they not required. Based on that one, you can pick up and you can have their, you can prepare your offering, or you can estimate, and then you can propose to the customers. So pre-configured process activation is a license which you can ask from SAP. And if customer wants everything to ready for SAP PLM for process industry in the system, you can have the license number and propose to customer, and you can customer can buy license pre-configured from SAP. And but only thing from your side, you need to propose that what all business processes they are into, and what all business processes they need to ask from SAP, and they will get readily available in offered from SAP system. I mean SAP PLM pre-configured system. Okay, so this is an important point, and you will definitely come across for any RFPs, any RFQs, any sorts of estimation. This is an important point. So you please consider this. But if you are going to build a system, then it is important that you should know that what all business processes currently customers are involved, and how we need to consider for our effort estimation. Then you need to consider all this business process. Yes. So this is what about business process about this slide. What is pre-configured process activation, which is offered from SAP with a unique license key, unique license number, or if you are directly providing an effort estimation to your client where you are involved for RFPs, then you take out, you identify those business process, and with respect to that business process, you can provide your effort estimation. Okay, and here is your life cycle or a journey from concept or idea of a product to of a product to a product launch, as well as the change management process. So you can see here there are 5 stages, which you can see that this is very first stage where you can see the concept and trials. You'll see that in this pre-configured process activation, if you buy from SAP PLM, then you will see that there are these component available from from the system which is provided by SAP. So you will see that specification management, recipe variants, trials, everything. Then you will see here the next stage where formulation and recipes are there. These all are the different elements for recipe formulation where you will find in the system. Or this is actually from one part to fit one stage to end stage, which you can see that product launch and change management. These diagram is a representation of starting a product idea and concepts. This will be a part of this life cycle. So portfolio and project management is not part of SAP PLM, but there is a separate module called project and portfolio management. But there is a link between project and the product which needs to be developed once it is handed over from respective stakeholders. So we'll when if we will have a time, then we can have a look on, or if we will have a question from someone how this is related or something, then we can spend some time after tomorrow's session. So recipe formulation, you can see the compliance and labeling. I heard that a lot of people are already in labeling, but might be they are not currently using the product label, recipe related labeling, or but different types of labeling. So here this compliance and labeling will have these many components, these many topics which will be covered within the compliance check and product labeling. As you know that once the formulation is finalized, it will be sent to the regulatory authorities. Regulatory authorities will check the compliance. They will and once it is compliant with the product regulation or it is compliant as per the industry, they will generate a label. They will hand over and they will generate a label. And label, there are different types of label. You can and we will come to know in next sessions, couple of sessions, that what types of labels are there. You can see here product scale and handover, where you can say that the handover of bomb, recipe bomb to a manufacturing bomb, and the synchronization activities, everything is done at this stage. That's what you can see here, scale up and handover. If there is a change required or some optimization is required in order to uh, to align for the manufacturing, then they can still be done when they are while they are handing over that recipe or a product which is finalized to the before handing over to manufacturing. Then there is a change product, and change management comes into picture, where uh, a change is required, or where some comparison is required. So some recipes needs to be compared against their values, against some against some their analysis, or some what is the impact analysis. Everything you can see within this product launch and change phase. So what all bullet points you are seeing, this will be part of your pre-configured process activation service if you are proposing for any customer. And these all are the stage, 5 stages, which you can see that from idea of a product to launch a product, and if there is a need of change of that existing product. So this is a cycle. So as you can see that pre-configured process activation, which we already discussed, and uh, it differs based on industry to industry. And of course for process industry, variant configuration, engineering control center, and then software management and visualization and all, this will not be applicable, because this all visualization is nothing but if the an automobile industry, they are, of course, they are part of discrete industry, and before handing over for manufacturing, if they want to visualize a product, if something is removed or something is modified, then they can visualize how this product looks like after a replacement or substituted by a different raw material or different product. Then they can visualize that. Then there is a variant configuration, which is also part of discrete industry. Engineering control center is also part of a discrete industry or manufacturing or automobile industry, where they wanted to use a platform where a production engineer and product engineer can have a collaboration better, and they can see that what product is being given by or supplied by or handed over by product engineer, and the production engineer can still decide what needs to be considered and what needs to be finalized and handed over for manufacturing execution. So engineering control center is also one of the part of SAP PLM offering, but not for process industry. This five are part of discrete industry mainly, and digital twin. It is in the process of development by SAP for process industry. So digital twin, we will see in future how digital twin are utilized and bring on for process industry for PLM. Okay. So far, any question?
Like, I have a question, Rudra. Hello,
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Rudra. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah. So, my question is like, whenever a new product comes in the market, so
Yeah.
basically, the first stage of PLM is specification, or first stage would be the recipe? Because generally, like as per my understanding, specification is generally gets created from a recipe, right? They have different status of recipe, and once a recipe is finalized, from that a specification gets created. Correct.
Yeah. In order to create a recipe, we need a data element, master data element, where we can have the different characteristic or attributes maintained. So recipe uses the data element, which is specifications in SAP terminology. So they recipe developers, they will maintain their raw materials, they will maintain their semi-finished products, they will maintain their intermediate products, information, or you can say attributes, by using specification management within the SAP PLM. So that's how. So in normal business process, they will any recipe developer, they will maintain their all the data somewhere. So either it can be any ERP tool or any third party tool where they maintain this product data. So in SAP PLM, when you want to start for recipe development, first before coming to recipe development, you need to start with the managing or maintaining or creating a specification, and you will say that I have, say, I have X semi-finished product, X raw material, X intermediate products. For that one, you need to create a specification, and you can maintain all the attributes, all the data within that specification, and then you go and create a recipe, and then you pull those raw materials as a specification in SAP terminology, and then you add there, and then you create a recipe. Once all your values, everything is good, you can finalize, and then you can release that recipe for production.
Okay. Okay. So for production purpose, recipe only goes for the production, not
E-
specification.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, but it is good question, Rudra. Okay, and any questions? Yeah, I can see
I
that.
have a question. What I understood so far is that whenever a customer buys this product, PLM product from SAP, SAP provides the license and provides a pre-configured system. What is the meaning of pre-configured system? In that case, any what kind of activities customer needs to do to use that product? Product,
Yeah,
when I say product, the SAP module.
exactly. So, uh, um, SAP, I mean, there are two options. One, if if you are going to implement SAP PLM, then there are two options. Either customer says that we will buy the license, you please identify what is required for our what is required to meet our business purpose requirements. So please let us know, or we will buy the license from SAP directly. So for infrastructure or set up a system, SAP system, we don't require your service. We will go to SAP. We will buy the license from SAP so that everything will be ready in the system. So SAP will take care. They will pre-configure everything in the system by providing a license number. If you want, I will give you the license number also for process industry, and then everything is ready. So being you as a functional consultant or a business process consultant, you will say that in order to meet your business requirement, you need to work on you need to manage different specifications, which takes care of all your raw materials, semi-finished, finished, and then intermediates. Everything can be maintained within the specification. So please pick up specification management. Please choose, please choose specification management. Please choose recipe development. Please choose document management. Please choose uh, change management. So this is how you provide your expertise, or you provide your uh, 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 you provide your consulting services to your client, saying that if you are buying from SAP directly, SAP PLM pre-configured system, then in order to uh, save the price for license costing, you need not to go for the whole package, but you can still choose what you require. So this four business process will solve the purpose, and the SAP PLM can be implemented. So please choose this from the options uh, for pre-configured SAP PLM system, so that customer can save the money. So this is how you will have the option whenever your customer wants to buy directly a pre-configured system from SAP.
Okay, so when we say pre-configured system, is still the configuration, like the implementation configuration, is still has to be done, right? Like
Correct,
even if it is a pre-configured system.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great. So any other question?
Yeah. Uh, uh, this bill of material, when we create this the raw material bill of material, right? So all those things we need material management in ERP module, or is there any facility to hold that material management related things in PLM as well?
In PLM, as we know that PLM is mainly deals with the product development, and of course R&D or recipe R&D department people, they'll be involved, and the recipe developer will be involved. So if there is a requirement of developing a new product, then obviously before handing over to manufacturing, they don't know what is the logistic material. Their work is they have to just start the prototyping, they have to start the trials, they have to finalize the recipe, and once they will hand over to logistic, I mean, once they'll hand over to manufacturing, then manufacturing or a production engineer, they will decide that what will be the logistic material for this recipe, which is called a general recipe. General recipe is on global level. Once a logistic material, or you are saying material master, will come into picture, that will come from module. Once the recipe is converted to a plant recipe or a site recipe, so that time a logistic material needs to be linked to that recipe.
Okay, so
So
there,
so
so
the
there is
log,
a, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So there is an integration with the ERP always, right? When with the recipe and the plant or the material.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
okay. So that can be any system, right? It may not
Yes,
be SAP. Okay,
correct. You can. It depends on if the customer is managing their material outside of SAP in some other third-party system. Then once the recipe is finalized and converted general recipe to site recipe, then there should be some material which is available in some plant needs to be linked to that recipe, and then recipe can be used for a particular region.
okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like if you mean that first a recipe is planned. Suppose if I say I need to produce a new variant of ice cream, then first a recipe will be planned by the formulator, and once that is finalized and changed into a general recipe, and then that will be sent to the production team or manufacturing team, and based on the content, they will be looking for the logistic related stuff like what are need for manufacture, right?
Correct. So in order to use for a plant purpose, they need to convert from general recipe to plant recipe. So in the plant recipe, obviously a particular plant will have one material, but another plant will have different material, but the same, it can be derived from the same global recipe. So obviously there will be a multiple material based on the region. There will be it will be I mean that material needs to be assigned to that particular site recipe or plant recipe. So these topics definitely we are going to see in next sessions, and uh, we will I will drive from the scratch, from the basic data tool, how we are building a master data element which is required for recipe, how we will create a recipe in the system, how we will create a label, how we will do the compliance check, how we will finalize the recipe, how we will see the calculations are happening of the recipe, what is formula view calculation, everything we will see hands on. And then we will hand over that recipe to manufacturing, and we will see that I have a whole exercise designed for this, and I'll make sure that you all will work on that and you will understand that how it is happening. So might be right now, yeah, we have high level overview that we are talking right now, but definitely this everything will be done on the system. Okay.
Sakit, is there any slides that is going to cover the overall architecture? For example, when you purchase SAP license, what is the base thing that you will get it? On top of that, what is the additional component? Because in the NPD process that you have showed different things, right? At a product compliance, recipe
Yeah.
development, and similarly portfolio management. So
Yeah.
each individual thing is that is add-on component.
Correct.
Okay, so what is that component required for each module, and how the overall architecture will be? So, like, is there any slides that is going to cover all those topics?
In this content, I have not added, but you'd like to see someone, Anto, I will show you tomorrow. I have a slide for that, where you can see that for product formulation and for discrete industry, what all the components are there. So where you, I mean, it is provided by SAP, and you can see there and you can choose from.
Yeah, that will be useful for to our team. So
Sure, sure,
cover that. Yeah.
sure, Ranto. Okay, fine. So we will move to next slide if not any question. Okay. I know that today is first day and we are talking more on theoretical aspects, but I'm sure that you will enjoy this training once we will go into system. We have a system ready. We have Fiori app is ready. I hope ZaranTech would have considered your test IDs, and so that once we do the lab or exercises, you make sure that you utilize that time for lab exercises. And please understand, until unless we don't do the exercises in the system, it will be difficult to understand. So doesn't matter if you take 5 or 10 minutes, doesn't matter, but you need to make sure that you practice the lab or exercises in the system. Okay, so we will move to next slide. I think we have this slide. Okay, still we have to go. Okay, so I think this is one of the slide from recent development from SAP, where uh, this slide was mainly centric on innovation management. So SAP has introduced a cloud component uh, for the for the for those kind of organization who are involved to do the innovate do the who are involved for innovation related products. I mean, they wanted to create innovative products. They want to. They are more involved on innovation management. So there is something, a cloud component introduced by SAP, which is called innovation management, where in within the organization, any user within the organization, any user outside of the organization, anyone are free. They can share their ideas to innovate a product. So that module is something called innovation management module, offered only for cloud. So you don't find the SAP PLM S4HANA on premise, that particular module. You will have that module offered only as a cloud solution from SAP. So innovation management is basically uh, to integrate multiple stakeholders. They are, and it is an open platform to share the ideas in order to manufacture a better product, but based on what customer needs. What is the need of the customer? If Mazza or fruity healthy drinks are available in the market, but there are lot of uh, feedback from the customer saying that there are some improvements required. There are some other flavors are required in order to improve that product. Then the request will come from the customer. Based on customer needs, they can share their ideas on a software as a service solution called innovation management, where they can integrate and share their ideas. And once that idea is confirmed as a requirement and approved by product stakeholders, product owners of that particular organization who has that product in the market already, then they will finalize that product ideas, and then they will integrate with the suppliers to have that component added and to have that particular setup ready, and then they will relaunch, or they will release that new version of that product into the market. So this slide is more on very high level of idea what customers or what consumers, end users, what they want. And in order to meet that requirement in PLM, R&D department, they will take care of that. But how they will take care? SAP has introduced one cloud solution, something called innovation management. So there you will see that how, I mean, based on the customer's requirement, you can always propose that, but that is not part of SAP PLM standard package. In on-premise, it can be requested to SAP, and for that one there is a license cost, and that sub module is called innovation management. That is linked with project and portfolio management as well as PLM recipe development. So that module for innovation management is linked with PPM as well as RD, recipe development. Okay, so you can see in this slide, I hope whole screen is visible. If you can see that if you buy, or any customer buy the innovation management, then you can see that on cloud solution you will get something called managed feedback Fury app, where you can see that the feedback can be received directly from customer or anyone. And then you can see that here, if you will, it will be selected from the category, and you can see that feedback will be shown here. So this screenshot is part of innovation management, and this can be integrated with recipe development. That's why you can see that the need of a customer is in left hand side, and once R&D will implement that changes, of course that changes needs to be done to that finished product, which is nothing but a recipe. In that recipe you can see that how that new component which is requested by a customer, but it is being provided as a feedback directly to the company. And then you can see that in right hand side in recipe development you can see that product, that component is been taken care. And this is how to meet the requirement when integrations are required from by using innovation management, so that what is the need of customer at current scenario, that can be incorporated and that can be provided, or that can be met by manufacturing, or first, but before manufacturing, the recipe uh, developer or R&D department, they should incorporate that changes, and then they finalize and hand over to manufacturing.
So
Okay.
basically, this style access be having to the marketing team of that particular product. Like suppose they will be doing a survey and they'll find out, okay, for my ice cream, customer is demanding that this flavor is required or this changes is required. So the marketing team will be logging this feedback, and then that would be sent to the uh, formulator, or like post approval, it will be sent to the formulator to implement in the recipe. Is it correct?
Correct. Once it is, and before handing over for recipe development, they will have to approved by product stakeholders, and then this requirement, this idea of adding up this particular component, or for a feedback, needs to be confirmed as a requirement, and then requirement will be linked to that recipe. You are right.
So there will be having a certain set of release strategy which would be configured for approval process.
Correct. There is a status for a requirement. So the stage, okay, anyhow, you asked me, so I would like to answer your question. You first stage you get the feedback, second stage you create an idea in a different Fury tiles within the innovation management. That idea will have a link from this feedback, and that idea will have uh, that idea you will create in a Fury tile, and then that idea will be reviewed by different stakeholders. They can also view if some ideas are posted by someone, but there will be a link between idea to feedback. And then once it is approved, then some product owner, they should they R&D product owner, they have to release that idea into a requirement. Once they will release that idea, then there will be a requirement ID will be created. That requirement ID will have the link to your recipe, and then that requirement can be taken by recipe developer for a further development, and then they will create a altogether. Either that product is already existing, then they will consider a new version of that uh, recipe, and they will just replace or substitute that particular component, and they will create a new version of that recipe, and then they will hand over. So
So who will
feedback,
be
yeah, tell me.
who will be creating this idea? Is formulator or some different team will be logging this idea based on the
Different team will have the access. Formulator will come into picture later, once
during this?
that yeah, once that idea will become a requirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So we will move to next. This is yeah, this is this slide is more on project side, like the example which you are asking, like vitamin drink, which is already available. So this is all from the project report side, and this is part not part of PLM recipe development, but of course it links from ID and project side where the project progress can be tracked, but it is from project and portfolio management model. So where you can create an particular project, and within that project you will have different phases, and you can actually see that what is the progress of that project, that product for which project is being created. So there are hierarchy in project and portfolio management where you can create in upper side, I mean on top, portfolio. Under one portfolio, suppose you have R&D portfolio where you do the research and development for manufacturing a product. You will have on the down from portfolio, you will have portfolio item. Portfolio item will have the link of your actual product which you want to manufacture, and it will be linked to your recipe. So anything you want to have on a dashboard, I mean anything on portfolio level, for any organization they wanted to track if something is some product idea is formed into a requirement, and requirement, for that requirement there is a the product development link is there, and then how it has to be tracked on the financial level, on very top at portfolio level. Any CEO and all, they can have a look of how many projects are going with respect to each of the idea, or manufacturing a new product. So they can refer that here. So this is out of topic, but just to get you the idea, here the whole cycle from idea to launch a product, this slide is incorporated here. So Now you can see this is important slide where you can see that whole solution capabilities for process industry is being mentioned here, and the roles who are involved for each phase. Everything can be seen in this slide, and then you can see also the different different modules are involved from the idea to product launch journey. So these all what you are seeing, it is something SAP modules or some modules which must be incorporated when we are implementing SAP PLM for process industry. So you can see here idea in each of the blocks. You can see that respective authorized group of users or authorized users or authorized person who need to involve or who are involved within uh, uh, each block of the stage. So you can see here innovation management and portfolio project management, they are involved start to end because they need to track a product which is going to be handed over for manufacturing, start from the idea to product launch. Collaboration is nothing but where this product manager and until recipe developer they can track in case of any raw material or components are supplied by any supplier, like how you do in Ariba or how you do in any non-SAP system. Suppose there are n number of suppliers who supplies the raw materials or semi-finished goods or an intermediate products to manufacturing company who is using SAP system. So in order to integrate with the supplier, there is a collaboration, and these roles are involved for the collaboration. They are responsible, and they will make sure that how a right product, how a right semi-finished or components are supplied by supplier which meets the company requirement. So that's why you can see that these three roles are involved within the collaboration, and these all are the collaboration phase, which start from here to until formulation. Then you will see that specification management comes into picture uh, once a recipe developer is actually start developing a prototype, start doing the trials, start maintaining the raw materials or semi-finished, finished, intermediates uh, in the system. So this recipe developer will start managing everything within the specification management, which is SAP PLM component. Here you can see that the recipe developer from this concept and trial phase to product launch phase, this document management comes into picture from SAP side, where they require to attach the document, regulatory related document, recipe related document, specification related documents, labels, or any related document which is required to manage from concept and trial phase to product launch phase. So that's why this document management you will see here. Recipe development, you see that just before the handover to manufacturing, where the recipe development comes into picture. If something is failed as per regulatory authorities for the compliance check, then recipe needs to be rejected or it needs to be not passed on to manufacturing. If the existing recipe needs to be changed or something needs to be changed or a version needs to be introduced, so that's how you can see that the stage from here to here handover recipe development model is required here within the SAP. You can see the quality management wherever you need inspection, wherever you need to do the perform the quality checks, where you need to track the losses during the manufacturing. So all those things will be covered within from this phase to this phase, and quality management also comes into picture. But involvement, a full-fledged involvement from quality management is not, might be not required here, but only with respect to the processes. If some quality checks needs to be done, or some quality requirements, related requirement needs to be captured, then it comes into picture. That's why you can see from this stage to this stage quality management is there. Procurement, as you know, that one of our uh, participant, he mentioned that where the procurement are involved. So of course, once the idea of a product, that particular product owner or product manager, they will know that what is the requirement of procurement right from the stage of the scratch of a product idea. That will be that will be there should be involvement for the procurement from right first stage until the last product's launch, so that it will be make sure that how a procurement should be done in order to meet a particular new product or manufacturing a new product. Here you can see the product compliance or recipe development solution, which will be covered within formulation to product launch, and then finally hand over to manufacturing. So this is a very standard kind of scenario, but it can be changed based on the requirement. And these modules of SAP, or the within these blocks, can be replaced or can be added based on the client's requirement. Here you can see that this is introduction to SAP PLM for process industry, and these all are the components. These all are the within the each phase. You can see that in each phase, what all different activities comes within the each blocks. So you can see that this is here the this is very standard kind of stages, which is mapped into SAP PLM, and there are some business activities which is been mentioned here. As you can see that innovation management, then project and portfolio management, estimate future product cost. These all are part of project and portfolio management. But in this part of training sessions, we will not go into those things because this is not part. We will see that how the specification introductions, how the ingredients details, how the nutrient information, how the finalizing recipe, how the creation of recipe, how the calculations. Here you can see the calculations of recipe, how the analyzing and searching a recipe, how the compliance checks comes into picture, how we can configure a compliance check, and how the label recipe generations, sorry, recipe label generations are happening, and how the adoptions, plant adoptions of recipe, which you can say the plant recipe, and how the handover to manufacturing. This is how this slide is being shown. And we will also see that how a customer stories for consumer products industry, and how the life science industry it works, they work in PLM. So that's all from this slide, and I think we have already discussed in earlier slides that most of the topics. This is important, and I'd like to ask you, or I'd like to show you here how it is important for SAP PLM for process industry. And each of the activities within each stage are mentioned here, and this is very important, and you can visualize here when the ideation and concept development. There are a lot of, once a product, the product manufacturing company, once they want to launch a product, they will have some ideas. They wanted to have a campaign management. They wanted to call lot of suppliers, lot of company who wants to participate for bids. So there is something called campaign management, where which is nothing but in 2022 release version of SAP PLM, SAP is bringing something called collaboration, where a campaign management can be done in SAP system only, SAP PLM system only. But this campaign has to be integrated with our third-party system, or with some other SAP system, or anything. It can be integrated, and then different supplier, they can bid, they can provide their product, or raw materials which they are going to supply, and then it can be seen within SAP PLM, and that's why you can see here ideas and campaign. So here they can see, and collaboration can be done here. And then project and portfolio, under this block, you can see that once this idea is converted as a requirement, then this requirement, for this requirement, there can be a portfolio item which needs to be created, which will be linked to a recipe for which a product development needs to be started. So that's why you can see here this idea is connected to a portfolio item, and portfolio item, for that item there is a link of that finished product. For that finished product, a recipe, general recipe, can be created by recipe developer within this phase, this block. And then how this finished product, or in SAP terminology you say that specification, output specification, or finished product specification, can be created with multiple components. Here you can see, and this with multiple components, you can finalize and do the declaration of document, where your document management comes into picture. And then there will, with compliance check by regulatory authorities, once it is performed the compliance check, then there will be a product costing calculation which will fall under within the compliance management, but before the handover to manufacturing. The product costing can be on different options, either from the material, how you are used to do the material costing, which you maintain in SAP Material Master, product material relevant costing. That costing can be considered. Costing can be considered from a specification itself, but it depends on business how they want. So the product costing can be done, which will be done within the recipe itself, and then the costing will be visible. And then once this is done, then you can see that after general recipe, there will be a conversion that recipe into a plant recipe, which will have, you can say here that aroma, there will be a plant specification which will have a material, and then the material will have a costing, and then you can see the plant recipe will have different bombs. If these bombs are either a specific with respect to one raw material, or it can be a one intermediate, or there will be a multiple bombs. So the plant recipe differs from plant to plant, and it is not at global standard. So global standard will only have the general recipe, where you can't change anything, but you want to change anything with respect to plant, you need to do at this level, plant recipe level. And this is what here you will have different material which differs from plant to plant. So there we will see that one a recipe relationship between recipe link or relationship with material, logistic material based on the plant, which differs. So here you can see that this change request to change the reporting, this falls across this stage to this stage. That's why they have mentioned in this slide this journey. If there is some change, or you can say that there is a change required with respect to any product, this needs to be start from this stage, and it falls and represented within this diagram like this. And then once everything is finalized, then they will hand over to the manufacturing. So that is how you can see here the relationship. And this is SAP PLM as per best practices for process industry. So this is a whole picture, or you can say the big picture for SAP PLM for process industry. And these all things we will be covering right from this stage to this stage, when we will cover for module 1 to 6. So everything will be covered except this project portfolio management, ideation and concept development, which is not part of our session. Okay. If you want to take a break for 5 minutes, you can take, or else we can close, and I can continue on 11:15. We have oh, we have some customer stories. We have kind of, this slide is again we have already discussed, so no need to discuss on this slide. This is something related to end-to-end the picture for innovation management to launch a product. But what we discussed, this diagram represents, this covers the different activities within the different components. Or you can say that as we discussed that innovation management, so this is not standard, and this is based on customers requirement we can propose, and these many things can be done within the innovation management. Now if you talk on the portfolio and project management, so these things can be done: project evaluation, resource planning, capacity plan, resource or capacity planning, financial planning, creation of a project, creation of a master project, portfolio items. Those things are part of portfolio and project management, monitoring and everything. So this is all part of portfolio and project management. The link between project to to PLM as a recipe development. So that's why you can see that recipe development falls under this stage. Within this picture you can see that in the stage 3, where the recipe development starts once a project is confirmed from portfolio and project management, and then a real recipe development starts here, and then different activities within recipe development takes place. So here are some advantage of integrated solution. That's what you can see, that integration aspects for, if you want to propose portfolio and project management to your client along with SAP PLM recipe development, then this is the right slide where you can propose to your customer, where they can start a uh, uh, innovation management, where they will get the idea of creating a new product, and then they can link the idea to requirement, and they can create a project, and they can link that project to a recipe development in the form of new requirement, and then recipe development they can hand over to manufacturing. and hence they can do the commercialization. So they can go from end to end, and they will have an end to end solution from SAP itself. So this slides represents whenever you want to propose to your customer a whole end to end solution, like so many CPG companies, so many pharmaceutical companies, they are involved in R&D, but they want to control over the product development. So how they will do? They will have to start the project, and project they can allocate some budget, and from that budget they can allocate. They will do the financial planning. They will do the capacity planning at project portfolio level, where CEO of a company or leadership, they can see what is happening with respect to that product development, and they can track from start to end what was the cost consumption, what was the what was the time taken to develop that product, what all the resources, capacities are involved from start to end. Everything they can monitor and control. So to have a better visibility for the upper leadership, definitely if the customer need, they we can propose that solution. There is SAP terminology. They have SAP has something called EPPM, Enterprise Project and Portfolio Management. People and customer, they get confused. What is the use of project system? What is the use of project and portfolio management? So how we can use it? So SAP has provided one kind of uh, package based on customers need, where they want something needs to be implemented as a part of SAP solution. So for customer specific project, they have CPM, commercial project management. For investment project like R&D and all, they have investment project module. Then they will go for SAP has something within EPPM called project and portfolio management. Then for just to collect the cost and to integrate between different department like procurement, and then human resource, then production plan. So all other departments, they want to integrate. They wanted to have a budget and capacity control, and then finally they want to see on profitability statement what was actually planned for the product costing, or a project budget costing, and then how much it is consumed, and how we can see in the report. Then SAP has a project system which is very old module and very good in terms of if we want to propose, and they wanted to control not on portfolio level, not they are not in R&D, but they wanted to, but they are on kind of contract manufacturing, where they get the orders from outside customer, and then they, based on that contract, they start the manufacturing. But they wanted to see that how much is the budget allocated, and what is the cost, and what is the revenue generated, and they wanted to see in the financial planning level, financial statement level. Then they can, I mean, you can propose for project system. So EPPM is consist of CPM, commercial project management, portfolio project management, project system. So these three things. But this slide will show you, this is one of the case, and one of the solution which you can propose. But of course, based on customer requirement, it will be not always the same proposal from your side, but the stage is same. You can always see this is business process specific stage, where each process industry they follow. Okay.
Hello, Saika.
Yeah.
Rudra, yeah. Actually, I could see that already past 12 minutes from the scheduled time. Are you planning to continue now or will be taking up tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fine. So as we started late today, 9:15, so I understand we are, as per plan, we are already over time. We can continue tomorrow for the same remaining slides, because these all are important and we will have to discuss on this, and we can continue tomorrow, and then we will start tomorrow also the module 2, where basic data tools and bomb insight, everything we can discuss.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.